Bussen, and we're here at the White Dress by the Shore Minutes and talk about your lovely book, Simple, Stunning Bride. And it's a series of 7 books, right? So
I have a book series called Simple, Stunning Weddings, and it features all sorts of different books, from everything from an organizer to help you with the planning process to the new book, which is all about enjoying being a bride. I have been lucky enough in my real life to design and produce a lot of amazing weddings. I actually designed Robert Downey Jr.'s wedding, for example. But the Simple Stunning Weddings book has a lot of just real weddings and a lot of inspiration for how to take a visual concept and make it easy to do. So there are lots of wow photographs and ideas, but when you actually look at them, you realize how simple they are, and that's what simple and stunning is all about. And then I also have I have an organizer, which is has actually helped over 100,000 brides.
I was going to say, organizers are very useful, right?
Yeah, it's so if you can't hire me and my company, or even if you are working with another planner, it's just a great tool because it's really a workbook. You write in it. I've got sketch pages in it. I've got pockets to keep your contracts and your business cards, and it's small. Which is nice because you can pop it in a tote bag. And then I have some smaller books that are on topics of wedding flowers, for example, or how to throw a wedding shower, etiquette for your wedding.
Oh, good.
Like that. And then, yes. And then last year I also did, it was a dream come true, I did a book on parties at home. So just entertaining at home. I love to cook. Do you love to have people over?
Yes, yes.
I mean, I do parties for a living, and I just can't wait for the weekends so I can have people over at my house.
Do you have advice for someone that's on a tighter budget? What would you say the most important?
Well, gosh, I think the first thing is to know your priorities. I think that's in the beginning of your process. You want to sit down, you want to figure out who is paying for the wedding, and you want to really be realistic about how much money you're going to spend, because you know how it is. It's like you can say, oh, I think we're going to spend this, and then suddenly it's this, and there's this option, and there's so many possibilities out there for you to upgrade and spend extra money, that if you know your priorities at the beginning and you really sit down and establish what those are, then as you're going along through the process, you use those priorities as guideposts to save money. I do say there's one thing I don't think that you should skimp on at a great party, especially a wedding, and that's service. I think you want to make sure that your guests are really well taken care of, that there are enough people to serve them, and that everyone is comfortable and,
that's important.
And happy.
Yeah, very
And
important. Could you tell us a little bit about how you got started?
Oh, sure. In fact, when I graduated high school, I left and I traveled the world as a magician's assistant on a cruise ship.
Wow, cool.
And I traveled all over the world for almost 2 years, on and off, and then I moved to New York. Originally, I worked in the restaurant business in New York, and I worked for some amazing people like Danny Meyer of Union Square Cafe, Gramercy Tavern, and all of his wonderful restaurants. And I learned so much. I took my moving here to New York City to just begin to kind of discover that there was more to flavor, there was more to ingredients, to experience, and man, once it hit me, I was like, I love it.
And where can we find your books, lastly?
Anywhere online, so barnesandnoble.com, amazon.com, any bookstore, and you can also check out my website, which is karenbussen.com.
Oh, you were amazing. Thank you so much, Karen.
Thank you,
She's
Jaki.
delightful. Thank you so much.
What's the buzz?
Hi, I'm here with our buzzing meteorologist, Michael Friedmann. Hi, Michael.
Hi, Crystal.
So tell me, what's the news for summer 2010?
I'm glad you asked. Predictions. This way, Crystal, please. Thank you. Let's compare 2 top authorities and their forecasts for the number of hurricanes for the 2010 season. NOAA, which is the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Okay, NOAA predicting 13 to 23 named storms. Of those, they say between 8 and 14 will turn into full-blown hurricanes.
Wow.
And a named storm becomes a named storm when it's a tropical storm. When it becomes a hurricane, that means the central winds are a minimum of 74 miles an hour.
Oh my goodness.
Major hurricanes, NOAA says 3 to 7. Dr. William Gray gives specific numbers. 18 named storms in the Atlantic, he predicts, for this year. Of those, he says 10 will become hurricanes, 13 will become major hurricanes, and he says there's a 50% probability of a Gulf Coast landfall. One more very important party that wants to chime in on the hurricane season. It is James Hansibian, a chimpanzee. Well, the National Center for Public Policy Research in Washington, D.C., Crystal, they were very, very cynical, and they noted that the National Hurricane Center and the National Weather Service sort of together were wrong in their hurricane forecast the last 3 out of 4 years, so they put our chimp friend up to it, and he says expect 6 to 8 hurricanes. You know, we have the mess, unfortunately, the big oil spill about 50 miles off the coast of Louisiana. Here's my schematic of the Gulf Coast. As far as hurricanes that go into the Gulf of Mexico, how they will impact or intermingle or mix or will they exacerbate the oil spill, we really don't know or don't think there's going to be much of an impact on the dispersion of the actual oil. The storm track makes a big difference. Let's say this is the oil spill right here off the coast of Louisiana. Well, we know that the flow around a hurricane, as it is with all low pressure systems, is counterclockwise. So if the hurricane goes to the east of the oil spill, that will help to push oil away from the shoreline. If the hurricane approaches to the west of the oil spill, look what happens with the counterclockwise flow. It will push oil onshore and deeper into those coastal marshes. The last time I met with Jackie, for Jackie's Buzz, we talked about El Nino, which was very strong over the winter and into the early spring, has gone cool to La Nina. It means the Pacific equatorial waters have cooled off. So it's sending off cooler air and it's cooler water. So it's not going to send off or spark big storms across the lower U.S. for most of the summer. So that tends to favor more hurricanes and stronger hurricanes. The fact that El Nino has cooled down to La Nina. Also, it has gotten warm on the surface of the ocean water in the Atlantic. What La Nina does is, since La Nina is weaker, it makes the Pacific jet stream, or I should say the polar, I made a mistake, the polar jet stream strong across the northern Pacific and across the U.S.-Canadian border. And across the U.S.-Canadian border is where we'll have our storms flare up in clusters of thunderstorms. While that's going on over the northern half of the U.S., over the southern half, you're going to have these huge, hot, baking ridges of high pressure over the deep south in 2 locations that are the ridge locations. This is over the deep southeast. That's called a Sonoran high. It's over the Sonoran region of the southwest, over the desert regions. So that is your bottom line for the summer in summary, 2010. Thunderstorms most prominent across the U.S.-Canadian border, while the southern half of the U.S. sits in a large no man's land of just very, very hot toward the east steamy air, and toward the southwest, hot, dry air. I'll see you next time on Jackie's Buzz. Crystal will see you next time on Jackie's Buzz. WeatherTalk.tv, Twitter @WeatherTalk_TV.